Okay, this is weird because to you this will be the last video that you get on your 18th birthday about talking about me and how you've grown up, etc, etc. So I'm hoping that you go from 18 all the way down to this one here. You're now 18 months old. I want to talk about my life before you, maybe even my life before Stacey and the kids, and I feel like this is the best way to do it. I feel like, you know, an 18-year-old you is going to see this and you're going to be able to realise the life that we lead, whether there's been ups, whether there's been downs, whether things are completely different from now to what they are in 18 years time or 16 and a half years time. But I want you to know everything about me, and I want you to know now what it's like. I've got a list just so I can talk about things like this. And like I say, this is weird because this is your first video, this is your last video, sorry, and this is going to be my first video to you. So the date today I think is the 8th of December 2019. I want to talk about my life just in general, just me, just before Stacey, before anything else. I was always a bit of a lad. I was a bit of a, you might not even use that word anymore, lad. This is why it's so weird. I was always a bit of a lad. I was a bit of a ladies' boy. You know, your dad don't get these looks for nothing. But something changed when I met your mother, Stacey. She had 4 children, which are your brothers and sisters, which are Archie, Lexi, Chloe and Charlie. And I used to go and see Stacey on a Tuesday and a Thursday night, because that's when they used to go around to Tom's. They always used to go there on a Tuesday and Thursday, and we'd go around there, we'd have dinner, or, you know, we'd sit down, watch a film, etc, etc. But that was never enough for your mum. It was never enough for your mum. And one day she sat me down and she turned around and said, you know, if you think you're going to keep coming around here and, you know, seeing me and not having anything to do with my life, then you can go. And that's what I ended up doing. I ended up staying and trying to push myself to be a better person than what I originally was. So I got with your mother. I took on the 4 children, which now, just so you know, you being 18 months means me and your mum have been together maybe 2.5, nearly 3 years. And I love them kids unconditionally, and I always will, as much as I love your mother as well. And within 3 months, we become a very, very big family very, very quickly. It was something that nobody expected, but we did sort of half turn around and say, you know, if I'm going to step up and look after these 4 children, then would I regret not having one of my own? And the answer was yes. So your mum very kindly turned around and said to me, you know, yeah, okay, let's do it. And within 3 months of us being in a relationship, she decided one day to send me a text message of a pregnancy test saying that she was pregnant. And I was so scared, so scared. It was just a situation I've never been in before. It was scary. Could I be the person that you wanted me to be? Could I be a real dad? You know, you got to remember that when I first come with your mum, Lexi was 5. You know, the baby stuff was already done. And yeah, so that's where things started. And, you know, before that, I'm sure you already know this, because I'm sure I've already told, and maybe by 18 years old, I may have diminished a lot. I may have got really ill. I may be less mobile. Hopefully I'll still be working hard and trying to support for you, but maybe 2-3 years before I got with Stacey, I ended up having a couple of strokes and it was blood clots in my head. And I got diagnosed with something called lupus, and it affects your immune system, it affects your joints, your kidneys, your organs, all of that. And some days are really hard already, and I try not to show it because I like to support this family as much as I can, but some days are really, really hard. But all the time I've got you and your gleam in your eye looking at me and smiling at me and saying, Daddy, things will never change, nothing will stop. But, you know, things like that did happen. Other than that, I've always been a big Millwall supporter. Always a big Mill supporter, all through my life. I did go through a little stint of supporting Man United for about a year until my stepdad Andy refused to take me to Millwall one day because I was now a Man United supporter, so that soon changed. Once again, if you don't know already, then you need to go onto YouTube, if YouTube's still a thing these days, and go onto something called Lions TV. Lions TV is something that a good friend of mine, Dan, he operates, he owns, and we do a lot of interviews. I do a lot of interviews with him. I've done a couple of full-time reactions for him. There's all these little things, so you'll always be able to see me of what I was like right now. Doing my thing, still going to football. Your mum comes to football with me a lot. I take the boys a lot, and they really love it, and it's really nice that we've got something in common that we can all go and do and enjoy. By the time you're 18, I'm hoping you would have come a few times as well, but you know, we'll see. Depends how good looking you are, because otherwise you're not going. You know, I won't be letting any of the Millwall boys anywhere near my little girl. But I've done that, and I still do that. Before the strokes and the illnesses, I spent 2 years in Cyprus, and I sang out there for many years. It was really, really enjoyable. You know, I used to do a bit of Michael Bublé, and he's probably not going to be about when you get this, but he's probably still going to be somehow banging out a Christmas #1 like he seems to do at the moment. And that was a great thing. You're probably going to grow up with me singing a lot around the house. You know, I absolutely love it, and I'd be honoured one day if I could sing at your wedding. But there's a reason for these videos. I think I will still be with you when you're 18, but I just hope that I am. But you know, if I'm not, then I need you to have something to look back on. I need you to know that I cared unconditionally about you, and without crying, I love you unconditionally, completely. You've always been my little girl. I want to take you back, seeming this is going to be the last video. Seeming this is going to be the last video that you see of me. Hopefully I'm standing right behind you. This is you right now, by the way. I don't know whether you'll be able to see this. That's you fast asleep. Such a good girl. Going to sleep. Such a good girl. Usually you go to bed between 7 and 8, and usually we have to wake you up in the morning. It's an absolute gift. But I want to talk to you about the day you were born. Well, before that, let's talk to you about the pregnancy. Your mum really struggled through her pregnancy. It was her 5th time. She was a bit older. Her body wasn't as young as she was. She won't like me for saying that, but her body wasn't as young as what it was before. And she struggled. We had 4 children. We just moved to this house actually as well, so I think she must have been maybe 3 or 4 months pregnant when we moved into this house, and it was hard. It was hard to maintain a lifestyle with Stacey being as immobile as it was, but she really pulled through. She really done well. And there's one thing about your mum that you need to always know, is that she is an absolute fire, and she will do anything for any of you kids. She is absolutely an incredible woman when it comes to you children, without a doubt, without a doubt. And you'll know this already. I won't ever let you ever hear you say a bad word about your mum when it comes to parenting, because what she does is off the grid when it comes to parenting. And you are a very, very lucky girl to have her as your mother. You need to stand by your mum and respect your mum and love your mum unconditionally, and I mean that. So coming up to the pregnancy, we had a lot of issues with, when we first told the kids that your mum was pregnant, Chloe locked herself in a bedroom, and Lexi refused to even think about having anything to do with you. She was, and I understand it on both sides. Chloe was young and she helped her mum when she was young, looking after the other kids. And Lexi had never been in a situation where there was another baby on her way, or at least not old enough to appreciate that. So the day you was born, this is where it gets sometimes it gets funny, sometimes you're probably looking at me going, for God's sake, Dad, why did you do that? But I always remember the time. It was 5:13 in the morning. And I woke up and your mum was at the end of the bed. Now, it was actually quite weird, because where the board behind me here is standing is where we used to have our TV and our drawers, etc. And this is where we used to have the bed. So if you can actually have a look in that corner where my fan is, it's exactly where your mum was, crouched over, saying she was in pain and she thinks it's time. Now I turned around and said, don't be so stupid and get yourself back into bed. It's 5 o'clock in the morning, why are you messing about? And she very, very promptly told me in a few words where to go and to get out of bed. So while your mum's all creeping and, really, really in pain and, of course stressed, etc., I decided to go downstairs and have a cup of coffee and a cigarette, relax. I think I ironed my shirt, and went and done my hair and put my best aftershave on just to make sure that I was ready for the occasion. And we ended up driving to Pembury Hospital, which from here usually would take about 25 minutes, took me 12. And in that time I smoked 4 cigarettes. Now I had to ring up Grandad, Gary, to get me some more cigarettes, and we got to the hospital quite quickly after I'd been messing about. And again, I'd never been in this situation. Your mum had been to a couple of classes, not classes, but she'd been to the hospital prior, where I didn't have to go. And of course she'd done it all before, and I never had, and I was so scared. I was so scared of what my life was going to become. I was petrified, and I didn't know how to act. And I'm a very confident person. I didn't have a clue, really didn't have a clue. And they put us into this room, just me and Stace, and it was like the room that you go to before you go to the labour room. And I always remember that, and I'll try my best not to swear in this, but I'm going to, is where your mum was in extreme pain. And when I say extreme pain, she was screaming. And I patted her on the back and went, shh, shh. And your mum very politely turned around and said, if you fucking shush me one more time, we're going to have a row. Now, normally, I would have a row back with that. But because I was in this situation and I got that she was in pain, I didn't know what to do. And I just sat there like a child that's just been told off, at 5 years old, just silent, just not saying anything. And we went to the labour room. Your mum was still in a lot of pain, but all of a sudden enjoying her gas and air, which was quite funny. And I asked if I could go and have a cigarette because I was just shaking. My granddad had come down to get me some cigarettes, so I went down, met my dad outside. He dropped my cigarettes off, and ended up having a conversation. I was having a great chat with a guy that had had a fight the night before, and he'd just come out. He needed a cigarette, so I sat down and had a fag with him, completely forgetting that my partner at the time was giving birth. And I quickly remembered. I sprinted back, and as I sprinted back, she said that your mum's waters had broken, and that was the start of it. I think it was 12 minutes. Within 12 minutes of the waters breaking, you was conceived, and it was amazing to see you come out. It was incredible. It's something that will always stay with me. And you was born at 8:37 in the morning on the 3rd of June 2018. You weighed 8 pounds 3 ounces. It'll be something I'll never forget. And I managed to. They asked if I wanted to cut the cord, and I did it. And I've never been so happy but scared, because they gave the baby to your mum, and then it was your turn to have the bottle. And so within sort of 2-3 minutes of you being born, I had to pick you up and give you a bottle, and I trained on Lexi's dolls. I'd read so many books, but just nothing ever was real other than that. And I didn't realise that until I had this little bowl of flesh in my hand that I now know that I've got to protect for the rest of her life. And I gave you your first bottle, and I'm hoping there's going to be a picture up of that. And I also changed you, and you can see in my face, I'm petrified, I'm so scared, it's unreal, it's unreal. And what we ended up doing is, once everything had settled and you was okay, and the doctors had come in, make sure your mum was alright, etc, etc, I went back home to go and get your car seat and any things that your mum's needed. And I actually brought Lexi back with me to the hospital. And that was the start of a great relationship between you and Lexi. The girl that didn't want anything to do with you. I think she was just scared. I think she was just worried. There's another baby coming in, etc. But everything worked out all right. So that was good. What have I got else to talk about here? Oh yeah, so we put you in. This is the first ever outfit. Your mum's kept it. It's a Ted Baker outfit. So you'll be able to see that when you see this, or whenever you ask your mum. I'm going to go into the first 6 months, because you're 18 months old. I want to do another video about you going up to 18 months. The first 6 months you was an absolute dream. You didn't do anything wrong, and there was just little cheeky smiles from everywhere. You never really cried, and if you did cry, it wasn't a loud cry. It was just a dull cry. You just wanted to be held. And I'm going to go into the first 6 months. Everything went so quick after that. We had you in bed with us. Not in bed, but we had like this small cot which goes to the side of the bed. Can't remember what it's called. All I know is it cost me a fortune, and it was able to sort of connect to the bed where you could be right next to your mother, and it was great. You slept through all the time. We had this cushion thing that you slept on, which was a dream. We never had any problems, and we still don't now. I don't know what the time is now, but it's probably about 8 o'clock at night, and you're fast asleep, and that's you done for the day, for the night. But anyway, listen, I don't want to drag this on. I want to get down to the bare bones of it, and I want to just talk about me and you. Now, you're now 18 when you watch this, and me and you probably would have experienced a lot of things. I know that because me and Chloe experienced a lot of things. Chloe's 16 right now, and she's a nightmare. So I don't doubt you're going to be any different. But I want you to know that everything that I do you know, for these last 18 months, everything I do, 18 years, sorry, I do for you. I love you unconditionally. I'm never going to stop loving you, ever. And you know, I miss you when I'm not around. I miss you at work. You know, you can ask my mum, your mum, sorry, I FaceTime all the time. I video call all the time. Ask for pictures, ask how my baby is. And I am always going to be by your side. No matter what, I will always be by your side. I wish that on your 18th birthday, you have the opportunity to watch all of these videos. Not all of them, because this looks like it's gone on for like 20 minutes, and if you're having a booze up, it's not going to happen. But you know, one at a time or whatever. But this could be my lasting message to you in ways of 18, the last time that I do a video for you. And I'm so proud of you, so incredibly proud of you, and I love you unconditionally. But also, you've got to remember this: your mum has stood by you through everything, and you need to respect your mother. That will always be the case, and this is always going to be the way I'm going to teach you. Me and you can argue, but you must respect your mum. No answering back, no arguing. What she says goes. That's the way we grow round here. It's the way that I grew up with Nanny. Nanny wouldn't have any nonsense from me. Grandma, if she's still around, I hope she's still around. Grandma's my idol. I love Grandma. And you love Grandma as well right now. They wouldn't take anything from us. You need to make sure that you respect your mum. That's a big thing for me. Anyway, listen, I'll let you get back on with your 18 years of celebration for your birthday. I love you, baby girl.